is what's best for business.
I gotta go take a big hairy dump.
Oh my God.
Tonight's main event, a tag team match.
Yes.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the podcast where we review what happens on Raw every single week and go through the wrestling news that is available around the globe. My name is Turbo Tony. I'm here with Matt Marsander. How you doing today there, Matt?
Pretty good today, Tony, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Old school Raw this week, so, you know, we had some...
Oh, yeah.
Nostalgia is running wild, yes. I was actually thinking to myself that I might end up wearing, for the recording today, my old Jack the Lad t-shirt that I used to do when we were wrestling, to go really old school, but no, I couldn't even find the thing. I know it's like somewhere in the back of my cupboard. I doubt it even fits me anymore.
The great thing that's hiding at the back.
Yeah, and you know, the silver lightning design pants that I had made, you know, the tights, you know. But let's not go into that because I scared more people wearing them than I did impress them, so less said about those particular items the better. But yeah, there was actually quite a lot of stuff to talk about this week in professional wrestling and WWE. Obviously now, you know, at the start of the year, WWE's coming into its WrestleMania season, so they're going to be pulling out all the stops to try and get hold of it, and even more so now the network was officially announced. I know last week we actually spoke in depth about the network, so I don't want to speak about it too much, but we'll talk about the actual announcement and how it was actually leaked before it came out, which I knew WWE were very upset about. They wanted this to be a big surprise, and we'll talk, you know, we'll go into a bit of it like that. But there's quite a lot of news to get through today. We've got a topic at the end, but if it rolls on too long, we may just kick that back until next week. And as ever, if you've got anything to say about anything that we're saying, leave a comment, send us a message. If you've got any questions, just send us a question. We're going to add them all up when we've got a fair amount of them, and we'll knock them all out, and we'll make that an extra episode of LTW. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So first thing on the agenda for this week, as I said, was the WWE Network announcement. I just go from my point of view. I know that you didn't actually catch the leak, so you didn't know about it until the day it was coming out when I told you.
I mean, I knew about it when, obviously we were discussing it, so obviously I was kind of aware, but I didn't know that was their big announcement. Yeah. I thought it was just to bring along the new emblem, which is crap.
Yeah, well, apparently, the talk is that they're going to try and make that emblem their global emblem, so they're going to get rid of the scratch logo, which I don't like. I think the new emblem looks a little bit odd anyway. For someone that does image manipulation and stuff like that, you know, all the images that you see on Let's Talk Wrestling are done by myself. It seems like a little bit of not exactly a great choice for them to go with. But in terms of the actual announcement, I think it was actually done through like WWE.com. They actually leaked it by accident that it was going to be an announcement about the network, and then they quickly deleted it. But as anything that goes up on the internet, you put it up there, people are going to find it and they're going to tell everyone else about it. That's the way it works. So I know that people behind that wanted this, you know, Vince McMahon was quite upset the fact that it got leaked. You know, they wanted it to be a big surprise, and I think everyone kind of knew anyway, roughly, that it was going to be about the network, especially as they put that logo up. And the last time that logo surfaced was when they last spoke about the network. So, you know, you put two and two together, and you go from there. So, but yeah, they had quite a lot of star power really going for this. They had Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin. I was quite shocked Austin was there. He tends to try and he doesn't. Well, I'm not going to say he buries people WWE on his podcast, but he's not exactly always user friendly towards them, shall we say? Is that a good way of saying it at all? Or?
Yeah, we'll go use it like rough around the edges.
Yeah, he's not. He's you know, I've seen him be kinder to TNA than he has been WWE. Funnily enough, I know he's always said he's a WWE guy, but anyway, yeah, this is the big announcement. Obviously, they're actually going to be releasing the network a lot sooner than we predicted. I thought it was going to be sometime, you know, maybe closer to WrestleMania that they're going to be doing this, but maybe they want to get it set in stone before Mania begins, which I can understand. You know, with Mania going around, you want to focus on your biggest show of the year, not trying to make the network work at the same time. So I can't understand what they're going with that. But,
already get it started.
Yeah, and it actually came out as a little bit cheaper than a lot of people thought. And the mood along the general wrestling fans is that they're quite happy about the network. You know, they're happy about the pricing of it. And
I mean, I'm seeing quite a lot of my friends on Facebook and that lot. I mean, even over here, we've, like in the FAQs, it said, oh, for the UK and like the rest of the world, you're talking like, we're looking at the end of the year, early next year. But even then, people are like, "Oh, I can't wait, and I'm definitely going to get it." And it's like, well, for the price of it, if it's sort of, if it converts over, so what's $10 into the British pound, we're talking about £8.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it's £8, that's a bargain, especially if I'm getting pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. Well, if I'm going to be paying €9 for €9 roughly what's going to be in Ireland, I imagine, it actually turns out that I'm going to be saving about €16 a month not buying the pay-per-views, which is a lot. You know what I mean? And that's just getting the pay-per-views. That's not even getting Raw each week or watching any of the other shows. It's all going to be available from there. And if they can keep up this positive sort of mood with their fans, and it's actually reached a lot of news outlets, the WWE Network announcement, that is, I saw it on likes of IGN. There's actually like an Irish site here that they do it for men, it's called Joe.ie, and it was on there, so even they're covering the story. So it's managed to hit mainstream media, which they're always trying to do. They're always trying to get WWE not just talked about by wrestling fans, but by everyone, and that's their ultimate goal.
I think it's because like wrestling is something that everyone's aware of. I mean, even if they're not fans of it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows of, like, they say that there's always some wrestlers that you can mention that not a regular fan will know. Everyone knows Steve Austin or The Rock. So, I mean, everyone knows of wrestling.
Yeah, they know the big names, obviously, and you've got to think that one of the reasons why they wanted The Rock to come back is because he brings that mainstream attention along with him, and you've got to look at the buy rate for the WrestleMania that he was hosting, and that was especially high, which is poor considering that WrestleMania was really, really bad. Yeah, in terms of the announcement, I can't really fault them on it. And to be honest, if they keep up with their promises, which, they may not be able to keep up with this. I said that starting a service like this online, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be, for the first few months, there's going to be a few issues. And, if touch wood, it doesn't happen for anyone that gets involved in the network, but they have problems streaming their pay-per-views live using the network, then they could have a few problems on their hands. And it's not exactly unheard of companies, lesser companies, of course, but companies not being able to stream their iPay-per-views, well. I don't see WWE as completely out of that fear factor. I think that there may be a few times that they mark this up. Let's just hope that they don't do it in the middle of an Undertaker match at WrestleMania or something along those lines.
Suddenly just like collapses. Like,
yeah. Or who knows? They may be able to time their downtimes for the Divas matches, and that'll help everyone, So,
that's it.
Yeah, maybe it'll work. So the next bit of news as well is that on the day of this of the network being announced, which was actually quite a joke. I was actually saying to people that their big. I was trying to troll people by telling their big announcement wasn't the WWE Network. It was the fact that Kaitlyn was departing the company, which she did that day. She basically, tore up her contract, or they released her from her contract, or whatever.
She just left.
She just left. Yeah.
It wasn't a case of being released. It was just like, I'm done. I want to go.
Yeah. Of which, at the end of the day, I mean, you can't fault them. There's another wrestler, obviously, did the same thing in a different company, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I don't think that she left much of an impact on women's wrestling as a whole. But whether that's down to herself or the time restraints that she's been given, or let's face it, they don't give the that division any sort of respect. Maybe it's because of the people they've got in there, but. I don't think that she wasn't one of the worst wrestlers that they had. I mean, it's not.
I think we did actually mention that she was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, but
which is true. But then, to be perfectly honest, it's kind of easy to be the best of a bad bunch.
Yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah, I mean, I would rather see her in the ring than Xana or Eva Marie or anything along those lines. But is she someone that I would be very excited to see? I mean, apart from maybe the program that she had with AJ, there wasn't really much else that I was that interested in seeing Kaitlyn be in. And I mean, maybe they want to get rid of anyone that uses the spear because that's Roman Reigns' thing now, and they want him to have that. So I don't know, but
that's it. It's just like,
yeah. I mean, she wasn't with the company long enough to really have a lasting impression. She's not exactly in the right division at the right time to leave an impression. Anyway, I don't think there's anyone around that will leave a lasting impression, apart from AJ Lee. And I know she's good friends, AJ and Kaitlyn. They're good friends, and they actually, they were at NXT together when they started up and everything along those lines. You got to remember, Kaitlyn actually won NXT, the NXT season 3, so that's how that came about. And they had a farewell match on main event, and they. I think that meant a lot to them. So all fairness to her, I mean, she's teasing a big announcement, but it seems like anyone that leaves the company, these are wrestling companies, like, these are big things. Watch this space, because they want to keep their whatever fan base follows them to stay with them, even though they might be just opening up a lemonade store on the side of the road, and that's their big announcement, But yeah, there's not really much else to say about that. Yeah, she might end up coming back eventually, but to what end, really? I mean, whenever you see Lita was out for a little while and she came back. It's not along those lines that you look at the likes of Eve Torres, who left, and she was one of the better divas that they had. There's just no incentive for them to come back, really. They're not going to get much out of it, and so I think that's pretty much it for Kaitlyn anyway. Moving on to into more sadder news, really, is the whole Mae Young situation that's going around at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
As you may know or may not have known, I'll go from the start anyway. She's very ill. She was taken off life support, which sounds grave, and it sort of is. But she the news broke that she passed away. It was false as of this moment. She hasn't passed away.
It was pretty much like the moment word that she got taken off life support. It's all sort of just like they've taken her off life support because she's dead. They just came in and turned it off because, well, there's no point running it.
No.
It's just like, oh, well, that's it. That's the end of it. It was when actually she's still sort of fighting on without the life support.
Yeah.
Granted, not necessarily, unfortunately, a fight that it's looking like she can win, but...
Nah. I mean, listen, we've got to take this with a pinch of salt. She's 90 years of age. She's a
that's
fighter.
it. She is 90.
She's not exactly, we don't know all the health issues and everything that goes around what's happening at the moment, but regardless of what happens, she was one of the most influential and noteworthy female wrestlers of all time. There is no
anyone who's like even the modern day sort of can agree with that.
Yeah,
because she's created some brilliant promos over the past couple of years for old school Raw.
Yeah.
Or for like the 1000th episode where, she turned up with Hand.
Yeah, When she kind of transitioned, I mean, you look back at the start of Mae Young's career. She had a fantastic wrestling relationship with the fabulous Moolah, and she wrestled for a very, very long time, was a very good wrestler in a time where a lot of people weren't very interested in seeing women wrestling, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
That was the period of that she was trying to blaze the trail, and to that end, she succeeded, and she's always. I don't think you'll ever find a hardcore wrestling fan that will say anything bad about Mae Young, because there's that amount of respect there, and I think if you look back at times that she's had more recently, where she's been more of a personality that's come back at these odd things. I know that she was scheduled to be back on this Raw, but obviously with the illness she wasn't able to make it. But I think what will make me smile when it comes to Mae Young was her coming out and calling lay cool sluts and bitches. I think that was fantastic.
That was brilliant. And it's just like, I just sort of like, and that pretty much goes to the entire current women's division at the time, considering pretty much everyone was really just like lay cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like she sees where it's all going, and it's just like, you're all just bitches.
Yeah, and the one thing about Mae Young is that she's not exactly going to hold back. That's who she was, and
she took a bubble on.
Yeah, let's face it. She's a fighter. She is a tough woman, and she is not giving up, and that has to be respected. Obviously, when the news breaks, I'm still hoping that there's going to be a miracle happens and we're still going to see her one day. I know that's probably not going to be the case, but when it comes down to Mae Young as a legend of wrestling, of which she absolutely is, you don't get much bigger than that. You don't get much better than that.
Oh, that's
in
it.
terms of the longevity and the. I
mean, you're talking about a 50-plus year career.
Yeah, exactly, and that has, like I said, that has to be respected, and like I said, to a degree, it is. I mean, a lot of the newer fans obviously wouldn't know much about Mae Young and think that she's just some old woman that shows up on Raw. No, there is a large wrestling legacy.
Like all
that
the
goes
little
along
kids,
with her.
just like, who's that crazy woman?
Yeah.
It's just like, well, she is a crazy woman, but
yeah. So kudos, and when the news break, when it does break that she's passed, I will not be a happy bunny, and
it will be a sad day.
It will be a sad day indeed. So moving on to talking about health issues, Ryback basically took a shovel out and dug a hole and buried himself inside of it. I say this because he concussed Ziggler in a live.
Oh yeah, I was just like, what, you on about when he started making fun of like Lillian?
We'll get into the whole Lillian thing. I'm a huge Lillian Garcia fan, so I'm gonna bury Ryback on this show. Okay, we'll get to that. But yeah, he's got a history of being very reckless in the ring. And it can be, attested to this, that he I don't know the exact spot of which he concussed Ziggler, but I know that he is the one being definitely 100% blamed for this. Rather, when it happened with Swagger, they kind of brushed it off and said, it was an accident. I think even Ziggler came out and said it was an accident as well. But they are definitely pointing the finger at Ryback here. And
well, apparently Ryback's actually taking full responsibility for this, which is good. But like, if it's from his meat hook, then that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we were highly critical of WWE for not giving this guy a push when he was really hot, but it may look like he was the one who made the decision for them, and if that's the case, then we can't really blame them for putting the pin out. If you're going to try and make someone one of the big stars of your company and he starts acting like a jackass, injuring people in the ring, there is no excuse for that. And no one's going to want to work. No one's going to want to work a program with this guy if he's being as reckless as he is, and that's what a lot of people are saying. And you even look at the likes of Brock Lesnar, who looks like he's being like really aggressive in the ring, but he does it and still is safe with the people that he's wrestling with. There needs to be a middle line with that, and if he can't do that, then I'm sorry, I don't think he should deserve to wrestle anyone if he's going to hurt them. That's just the way I go around it. But so Ziggler concussed again. Hopefully, maybe this will just concuss him, and he'll go in some concussion time warp, and then he'll finally start getting a push again. I doubt it, but we'll go from there. Hopefully, he'll be back on the roster soon. But it doesn't exactly. Maybe having the time away would actually do more for him than still being on Raw and jobbing every week to the likes of, Damien Sandow and Fandango. Another wrestling figure left. Not just their company TNA, but in the whole of wrestling. Matt Morgan. He essentially, he didn't exactly retire. He said that he might come back and do indie shows, but he said he's done. He's done being a full-time wrestler, and a lot of people have slammed him for this because he had a lot of potential. He was a very big guy, and I know that they.
He's not the first person to like. He's probably the first major person to basically say, "Do you know what? I've got a kid now. I'm gonna be a father."
Yeah. There was some, I can't remember the name now, and if anyone knows, tell me this, because it was in the last couple of years. Another wrestler did this because they wanted to be. I think it was Tyler Rex, maybe.
Tyler Rex.
He did it because he wanted, and as I'm a dad myself, so I fully understand where these guys are coming from. If he wants to go and do that, and apparently the job that Matt Morgan has gone into from here actually pays him more than TNA, which is understandable because I don't think TNA have got a lot of money behind them at the moment.
Yeah, I probably earn more than a TNA guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I can completely understand it. I mean, it is a bit of a shame. The guy had potential. I thought he could be something, and I remember him back in the days when he was in WWE, and obviously he got a little bit better during his TNA tenure, and there was talk of him rejoining WWE. But if he feels like this is the way that he needs to go, then fair play to the guy. If you're going to leave for something, it may as well be a noble cause of trying to do what's best for your new family, as what's going to be. So fair play to the guy. I wish him nothing but good luck, and I hope that this new job, whatever, does pay more, and he's more than happy with it, and goes on from there. The last bit of our news was something, a little tidbit, actually, something that made me smile. And this actually goes back to you and me, Matt, because we actually have seen this guy live. We have seen Ken Shamrock. He
Yes.
was the guard for 50 Cent during an appearance. I think it was at the CES show. And there was a picture of him there, all clad in his leather jacket, looking quite menacing.
Yeah, quite intimidating. Like, I'm Big Kenny Shamrock. It's like,
Ken Shamrock.
whoa.
The problem is with that, for people that may have seen him at that Wembley show that we saw him in, we wouldn't be that intimidated because we saw Ken Shamrock get beaten the fuck up. So, yeah, it was actually sort of the lines that me and Matt went to an MMA show. I can't remember the name of it. It's now like a defunct MMA thing, but it was in Wembley, so it was quite a big show. We went there, we watched some MMA, and his son was also.
Kenny Shamrock's boy was there, wasn't he?
Huh?
Kenny Shamrock's boy was there.
Yeah, Ken Shamrock's
awesome.
son broke his hand, didn't he? And still did the
first
entire
round,
match.
yeah.
So he was actually, in my opinion, a lot harder than his father, because even though he looked like a little whelp, he carried on with a broken hand. But I think Ken Shamrock was knocked out in under 70 seconds, which is
something like that. So halfway through the first round, it's like, yeah, it's done.
Yeah, it's done, and that was supposed to be the main event. And the guy is, 50 years old. Obviously, I would not want to get in a fight with a guy. I'm not stupid, but for anyone that maybe saw that wouldn't see, think of him as his English-born
A second light. It's like, maybe.
So hopefully he wasn't the only one guarding 50 Cent, or in case I don't really care what happened to 50 Cent, to be fair, so.
He's worried just giving a call to Snoop and just borrowed the main event player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's definitely, he might not be able to take time out though of all the main events he's been in recently though, bro.
Oh yeah, crazy.
But yeah, one thing just to add on to that as well, the reason why I don't give a crap about 50 Cent, if you've ever watched the guy live, you can't understand a damn word he's saying. So, woohoo!
I won't knock any fan, but I don't understand your interest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the wrap of the wrestling news. There were a few other small bits, but not nearly as interesting or meaningful as the other little bits that we talked about today. So we'll move straight on to Old School Raw. And this was a good show. It hailed from Baltimore, and one of the things that is a current theme with this show, I can sometimes I can blame WWE for having a bad show, and that's the reason why the crowd are poor. But when they pull out a good show and they have a bad crowd, that's just the crowd.
I was through pretty much the entire show. I was like, Baltimore is boring.
Yeah, they were pretty poor during this entire show, and they were given a lot of good segments. Granted, the entire show wasn't great, but it was definitely a lot better than what they've done the last couple of weeks. It was definitely the Christmas show.
I think we're saying that a bit wrong. Ric Flair got a pop.
Yeah, there was a few pops to be made, but I mean, we'll go into more bits. I made a reference to where there was a few
dead spots,
of which there shouldn't have been because they were awesome moments. And if they had done it in a different area, or even, I know it never happened, but if they did it in England, that place would be exploding, So yeah, Baltimore did not show their best side, and I'm afraid that if you do those sort of things, then that sticks in the mind, especially of the recent wrestling fan, because everyone remembers the New Jersey crowd from the night after WrestleMania, and they remember good crowds, they remember bad crowds. So I'll be keeping an eye on Baltimore and see if they dead show the next one that they go to, and you do too many of them, and WWE won't be inclined to go back. So Ric Flair, as you said, kicked off the show, and yeah, he got a pop, as he opened up the show. And to
be perfectly honest, Ric Flair can go anywhere and get a pop.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
He could just be at the back of the room and he just go woo, and everyone's like, oh my god, where is he? It's just like, that's crazy.
He was on full show, wasn't he, during this program?
Yeah.
Ric Flair, as you would expect, and as you would expect from Ric Flair, he is excellent in the ring and on the mic, and there was no exception to this. He was fantastic.
It's like the amount of times they mention the fact that he is a man who has 2 Hall of Fame rings, and it's like, and rightfully so.
Yeah, of course he does. Yeah, I mean, you look at the guy in terms of longevity, 3 decades of fantastic wrestling. Well, maybe the last decade he was stuck in doing pretty weak matches for WWE and then TNA, so maybe not talk about them, but during his prime you can't find much better wrestlers than Ric Flair, and that is the truth. You go.
There was one thing, of all of his accolades, because they list it all off, and he was like in the NWA and like, 16-time champion, and they're always forgetting Dr. Flair, the best blade man in the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the guy could bleed like no other. I don't know how there's any blood left inside of his body because he did that thing like Shawn Michaels used to do that as well towards the end of his career in some of his matches. He'd just bleed just profusely all over the place, and his hair would be flopping around all greasy and shit, and it would look deadly. And yeah, they had a knack for that, didn't they? I'm surprised actually. You look at the likes of some of the ECW guys, and they bladed all the time, and they've got fucking messed up foreheads.
To be fair, could you really say that half the time the ECW guys were blading?
Yeah.
I think it wasn't just like, I'm just going to attack you with barbed wire. If you bleed, you fucking bleed.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little bit different. I mean, I guess with a razor blade, there's a little bit more precision than just having just anything rammed in your face night in and night out. So, yeah, maybe you might have a point there. I'll trust you as well, as you're the expert on ECW on this podcast. The amount of DVDs that you have of that company is a little bit worrying, so...
It's not that worrying. There will be no fire.
So yeah, anyway, he was great on the mic. He sold himself really well, came off really well. Orton came out, and I like the fact they played off the fact that there was
bound to be an Evolution reference, though.
Yeah, of course.
That was a guaranteed. Even though I did quite like, it's just like there was essentially just Flair, just like, but you're still the little bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
He had a great line where he said, "Yeah, the titles make you a man, but when you go home and close the door, do you really feel like a man?" And it was a really great. That's the sort of promo skills we've been missing, and they need more people to be doing that.
It's essentially just diminishing Orton as this like testicular fortitude. It's just like your bollocks, they count for nothing.
Yeah. So I mean, when Orton tried to have a back and forth, there was a segment later on with Ambrose and Piper where they had a great back and forth. Orton wasn't capable of that really. He was just going through his lines and he fluffed his lines. He said that that Flair was going to take him under the ring, and all the only thoughts I had was of Flair, him, and Hornswoggle having a slumber party down there.
Hornswoggle just sat there with a little kettle.
Yeah, exactly. Because we all know Hornswoggle lives underneath the ring.
Oh yeah, in the small people's court.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, that was typical Orton fluffing his lines or whatever, and that's what I don't like. You can tell that he's running off these lines.
We spent like last week just like, why people wouldn't always knock Orton. I know he's not like, but he's doing really good recently, and then he fucks a promo, and it's just like, oh, Orton.
I try my best to try and convince.
Down.
Yeah. I don't remember the first few episodes when we did the relaunch. I was trying to say to you, he's improving. I was standing by him. I was like, he's improving, and then he just does crap like that. I mean, you can tell he's good at running out lines, but the problem is with running out lines, you can tell that you're running out lines.
Yeah.
People like Ric Flair and Roddy Piper.
Because there's passion.
Yeah, they don't just run off lines. They take their time. They make that promo their own. They really make sure that the parts that are supposed to hit home, they do hit home. And
it's almost it's like the importance of the pause. It seems to be sort of something that gets forgotten nowadays. It's like, I mean, yeah, you can carry on and you can spiel off lines and just go and go and go, but unless you actually take that time, like you drive your point home, and unless you take the time for the fans to go, oh yeah, then it kind of just gets missed.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons probably why they want to try and get away from that is because of the god awful what chants that they will do when they say something.
What do you mean, god awful what chants?
I hate the what chants now. They were really funny when they started off. They're just annoying.
They were funny. So basically, it was funny when Austin did it.
Yeah, but like, I mean, one of the things that annoyed me more is that the fact they kept trying to do that to Mark Henry, and obviously Mark Henry flipped it back on them, and that was fine. But you can tell that was someone's really trying to get a good promo over, and they've got a crowd that are just being a bit smarky, and they're just saying what over again. It can really kill a promo when it unintentionally, when it doesn't need to, even if it's a good promo, they just do that, and I don't like it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sometimes maybe, but. No, not in the way that it does it. I've seen one too many good promos get ruined by crowds just saying what. But anyway, Cena came out after their little back and forth.
Say makes the save.
Yeah, he didn't really look like he was making the save. I know Rick
Well,
Flair
it was,
shot
yeah,
him to hell.
you know, I say that loosely. You know, Orton was going to get a bit arsehole-ish. It's like, oh, it's up yours, Flair. I could beat you. I'm the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
That's still a mouthful, isn't it? That WWE.
Yeah, I really struggled with that.
But yeah, I mean, he basically broke up what was an interesting promo on Flair's side, and basically just said, "Oh, let's go old school," and yeah, essentially that's how it ended, really.
Yeah, it's like, I can go old school. I can beat your ass up.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
Maybe you go old school, and maybe you should have come out with this promo and rhymed it in a rap. You know, that would have been really old school.
comes out with a chain link
Yeah,
necklace.
exactly. Yeah, maybe something a little bit different. Yeah. So after this particular segment, we got to see JBL's Ron Burgundy Rick Astley hybrid costume.
Yeah.
And you know, kudos to him for going all out of it. I mean, what did you think of the whole get-up that he had?
Pass. I mean, fair play. I guess they kind of had to have somebody dressed up in it because we didn't have King.
Yeah. We'll talk about that now because I mean, King was absent from the show. He ate some bad food and he was sick. And I think they jumped the gun and just basically said, you know, if you're sick, we're going to send you straight because we want to make sure it's nothing to do with your heart. And they made a mention of that.
Enough.
They made a mention of saying it's nothing to do with his heart, but if you want to figure out what's going on with the King and seeing if he's going to be okay, then download the WWE app.
That was a terrible WWE. That was the terrible app plug.
It was.
It's like, oh, so you're worried about like a Hall of Famer and a legend and like a guy that you see every Monday and you sort of like love him as a character. Download our app.
I'm just waiting for the little extension on the WWE app. It's going to be the WWE obituaries. You can only find out.
I was just thinking to myself, it's like, right, cool. They've mentioned it once. Are we not going to see the app? Because if we're going old school, then they didn't have an app.
I don't think they see it that way. I think they see it. We're going to plug the app no matter what show it's on. To be fair, I think that's the way.
Old school. We're going to take you back to WWE 1950s. You know, so back we're going like WWWF.
Yeah,
we still have an app. It's like. Yeah. Most people didn't even have a phone.
Exactly, yeah. But, no, I mean, it was cheap. I don't think maybe they meant it in that way, but, you know, it came off, especially for people that are sick and tired of these apps. And they must know that people are getting a little bit sick of all these app, you know, plugs and everything. But, you know, this really rubbed people up the wrong way, myself included.
Oh, definitely.
And I really hope that they don't go this route now where they try and just put any information and trying to tug on the heartstrings of wrestling fans like yourself and myself to try and get this WWE app over. I mean, I don't know if it isn't over now. I don't see why you'd want to try and get it any over than it is.
Well, it will get over because what can you now? What will you be able to do on the WWE app?
Yeah.
Access the network.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's chance enough in the zone. I mean, I mean, they're obviously going to plug it even harder now the network's coming out, but not in this way, please. This was very lowbrow for myself.
Yeah, it's a dirty way of doing it, really.
Yeah. First match of the night, we saw the Wyatts complete with their new member.
Daniel
Wyatt was with his blue overalls. And yeah, he was playing the part. He was playing the part 100% when he came out, and it was very interesting to see him come out with the group and the fact that he
seemed aggressive as well.
Yeah, I mean,
even just his wrestling style.
I hate sometimes when they do these things where someone, like they did it with John Cena, that he joined the Nexus, but he was still basically John Cena with just an armband on. If you're going to do it, go with it 100%. That way we get to see a different side of the character. We get to see a storyline that plays out properly, and you know, he still hasn't turned heel. A lot of people keep thinking, oh, they're going to pull the plug on this guy. He's not turning heel. He's still getting a good crowd response.
Yeah, he's still got a great crowd response.
Yeah.
But even if he just, I mean, granted, okay, we discussed this before. The Wyatt family, like, still, they get almost like a face pop as it is.
Yeah.
Because people enjoy the Wyatt family. I do.
Yeah.
And I know you do. And I think it's because it's sort of like they enjoy the Wyatt family, and then also it's Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan's the most over person in the company right now.
Yeah, he is, and he has been for a very long time. So I think the way they've done this is great. He hasn't turned heel. He's well, and until now, of course, maybe he will. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't think they're going to turn him heel, but they had a point here where it looked as if Brian, it looked like to me that they might run with it, that Brian may be, to the Wyatts unintentionally hindering their plans, but he's actually doing it, to mess up with them from inside. They may end up running with that, so he still stays face. He gets one over on the Wyatts by basically, destroying them from the inside, sort of thing, or getting one over on them on the inside. And he did cause the loss here. Usos and Mysterio got the victory, and while it didn't really sow any dissension, I would say, because there was a promo later on where basically a kind of a throwaway promo where they basically said that now Brian will be teaming up with Bray Wyatt himself. So wherever they seem to go,
it was quite a good promo actually. That little backstage one that was later on, because it was quite true. It's like, I've been a tag team champion, and I've been a tag team champion with a guy as big as you guys. So it's not like he's not used to being. I don't want to use the term considering it's what started off his mental problems, but the underdog of the team.
Yeah. That was the whole beginning of his split into singles competition at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And speaking of Kane, though, the Kane of then is not the Kane of now, so there's a big change between that. But in terms of the match, it was fine, the match itself, but it was meant there for the ending. That was what they wanted to do with that whole match.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. And I like the fact they're at least going all out of it. I wouldn't want to see Brian come out in his usual attire and basically just being Daniel Bryan. But look, he's now alive.
The Wyatts make their entrance, and then Daniel Bryan comes out and does his.
Yeah, I think that would be a misstep. I like the way that they've done this, and like the Shield, the Wyatts have been booked pretty well since they've come in. I hope they continue it from where they go on from there. So talking of Kane, we'll go into that in a little while, but Brad Maddox apparently thinks that, I could definitely see Sergeant Slaughter as being a fair referee, and obviously he was picked as well, but when he was looking at all three of the guys that were going to be fair and sane referees, why in the world would he pick Bob Backlund in that list? Why?
Nobody is more sane than Bob Backlund. You must understand this now, Tony.
Exactly. Yes,
His middle name is Sanity.
He's just a very calm, easygoing guy, and he would call it right down the middle without any.
I'll put you in a chicken ring.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking, and at least this was something worth voting for in the WWE app, though, which was something of a change. Which one
I was in two minds. I was like, ooh, Sergeant Slaughter, who I'm a big fan of, he's probably one of my favourite legends. And Arn Anderson, it's like, ooh, tough call.
Yeah. Whenever I think of Arn Anderson, though, all I can think about is the scissors stabbing incident that he had with Sid Vicious, but that's only because of the whole mess of that story was, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in more length in another episode. But it was. You don't often see Arn Anderson in that sort of legends role. He likes to be more of a backstage.
So you see him from time to time. It's like when something goes really wrong or someone's going really crazy, and they bring out extra people to help. And Arn Anderson's usually one of the first people out there.
Yeah, I remember that when they did that.
Fitly.
When they did that in TNA, I think Al Snow is the guy who does that. So it's kind of like they fills that role. But fair enough. And but I always one of those people that would like to see Slaughter, but we've seen Slaughter a lot, so I wanted to see I want to see Backlund in there. I thought having Bob Backlund in that match as a special guest referee would be great.
I don't think Bob Backlund will ever be a special guest referee. It's like whenever Bob Backlund's getting put up as an option, he just never gets it.
Yeah, I know. I think that's a shame, personally, but maybe I think it's because Backlund isn't of the same. I know that Arn Anderson and Bob Backlund are kind of the same era, but Bob Backlund, his time where he was in his prime, or even when he came back and beat Bret Hart for the belt, that's a very long time ago, and that was such a throwaway sort of program that they had, that he won the title and he lost it very quickly, Backlund, that a lot of people wouldn't even know of that at the moment. So, Sergeant Slaughter is, I think, more of a household name than Backlund.
Yeah.
Not more of a wrestling name, You know, in my eyes, Backlund is a better wrestler, and he is better than all of them. But it just goes on from there. I mean, Backlund was huge to WWE starting up anyway. He was one of the first WWE champions, so that goes into that.
Right, definitely.
So anyway, Kane made his intentions clear with Maddox, basically saying that
whatever happens, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, but any talk of him being like a decimating demon has been lost long ago. So. Yeah, Maddox can be a little bit fearful.
It's just like, all I have to do is put the mask back on. It's like, yeah.
I think the damage
you'd have to like murder, like slaughter an orphanage for us to take you seriously as any sort of bad guy, or any sort of threat. It's just like, sorry, Kane, but Candy Cane ruined you.
Yeah, it was a little bit, and the more that I agree with you. I mean, I know he's wrestling live events, but you made a reference to the fact that the longer he takes outside of the ring, the more damage they're doing to his character, and I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We could take him as a competitor and this guy that could still kick some ass if he was still kicking some ass, but he just seems. The way they booked him wasn't the way that I would have booked him. I would have booked him as this sort of suited up guy, but when someone got on the bad side of the authority, you go send Kane in to teach him a lesson. You know,
he'd be if the authority was the Horseman, he'd be the Anderson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that if they want to, if someone's getting on their troubles and they want to teach them a lesson, you send them out there. Kane decimates them and makes an example out of him. And you know, you can still have him come out with a suit and tie. You know, but that you have that part of his character that's still there. But because they haven't gone with that, I think it's a little bit of a misfire anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much all you can say about Maddox. He's been more put on TV more recently, but I don't know where they're going to go with this. It almost seems like the whole sort of story is like the storylines that they had with Teddy Long when he was SmackDown GM. That suddenly he would have like a storyline one week and you wouldn't hear of it again, and then there was a new storyline the week after, and then you never hear of it again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a little segment here of Biggie Langston making his way to the ring. He saw the likes of Nikolai Volkov.
Actually, there's one thing before that. Like, I just completely announced.
Yeah, go on.
It's like, you know, they were just like, oh yeah, it's been announced that Batista's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Because they had that, didn't they?
Yeah, they announced quickly. Yeah,
why couldn't Batista have just done that himself?
I'm glad you actually brought this up, actually, because I think that having them release
like Batista's going to be at the Royal Rumble, but if that'd be fine if Batista wasn't going to be on the Raw before.
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, if he was going to be making his reappearance at the Royal Rumble, it makes sense for them to reveal that who's going to be in the Rumble match, because then you've got a reason, he's actually going to be in a match there. But as you say, no, I completely agree with you. As he's going to be on Raw, I don't understand why you wouldn't make that the focus of his promo, saying, I'm back, I'm going to come straight into the Royal Rumble and I'm going to win, everyone's, awesome, I'm going to get the Royal Rumble. But they seem to have messed that one up as well. So no, I completely agree with you there, and I'm glad that you picked that one up, because I don't even have that on my list. So.
I was gonna say moving straight on, and then you had that. But yeah, that's sort of one thing that just like. But why? If Batista's coming back to cut a promo before like Royal Rumble, why can't Batista turn around and say, I've done it before, I can do it again, I'm going in the Royal Rumble?
Exactly, and then that would be a very poppable promo for him to do, wouldn't it? Really, and. I don't know. I mean, they seem to be building up something. We'll go into that later on. But I would have preferred him to come back and broken the news himself that he was going to be in the Rumble and make all the reasons why he was going to win it. And then you could have someone come out and say, "You're not going to win it, Batista. I'm going to throw you out." You can do it from there.
Del Rio.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to go over that. But yeah, next, like I said, Biggie Langston came to the ring and he saw the likes of Nikolai Volkov, the $1 Million Man, who still has the best laugh in wrestling, and.
One thing I noticed with the $1 Million Man, what a surprise, Oksana's being a gold digger. Again. It's like, ooh, shiny belt.
And, I mean, I always love seeing $1 Million Man. I mean, the guy never got the accolades that he deserved for the in-ring competitor he was. At all. He deserved the WWE Championship run, even if it was for a little while. He was a great heel during that time. And his once tag team partner, IRS, was there as well, saying that, I hope you paid your taxes. Which I like seeing IRS, but I mean, you may not know, but IRS is actually the dad of Bray Wyatt. So,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen. There was a tweet done by Bray Wyatt, and you showed me this weeks ago, where he basically someone asked him what happened to Husky Harris.
Oh yeah.
And he said something along the lines of he needed a purpose and I needed a vessel, which was really great answer. It was something really creepy, and it made it seem as if this body's been taken over by a really evil entity.
It's like Husky Harris's body, but it's more of a possession.
Yeah. And I would have liked IRS to maybe bump into the guy and say, "Son," and Bray Wyatt be like, "He's no longer there." Just something you could do, something really creepy, really sort of like you've seen the horror movies where they bump into an old person. And it's like, oh, and it's like, "I am no longer this person. I am the vessel of the demonic," or something. I thought there was something they could have done with that, and especially as the fact that they didn't really do anything with these guys. I mean, they had like 5-second appearances apart from call out.
Yeah, for IRS, it literally, it was, hey, look at the man, do the laugh, IRS, do your saying, pay your taxes, and then, Nikolai, what are you gonna do? Sing in Russian. And that was about it, and that's like 3 guys in 10 seconds.
3 legends that could do something better, a lot better than what they were given, especially IRS. I mean, I get the fact that Volkov and DiBiase have been around. They've been on a few old school Raws before, and they occasionally show up for big events. But you don't tend to see IRS around that, a lot. Yeah. So give the guy something. Come on, but. That's the way they go through. I mean, obviously it was a very packed show, but there could have been something they could fit in, really, especially with 3 hours on the clock. So the match that he was walking down for was Langston versus Curtis Axel, and he basically beat Axel in what really was just an ordinary match. Ryback was on commentary, Matt. He was on commentary. And
he was indeed.
He made fun of Lillian Garcia, basically saying that his voice was hoarse and because he's been spending too much time around Lillian Garcia. I am a big fan of Lillian Garcia. The reason being, she's a classy woman in a company where there ain't that many classy women. That takes some doing.
You like yourself a classy broad.
Yeah, exactly. I like a woman with a little bit of self-respect, and she does. And she had one of the all-time funniest promos where The Rock was talking about his strudel, and she acted her part fantastically. And,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But. They did this a couple when Lillian Garcia first came back. I think a couple of years ago, and she tripped and fell on her heel, and they used that one little 5-second comedy skit probably about 500 million times. They used it on the Slammy Awards. They used it on WWE.com. They used it everywhere, and it's just a woman having a heel.
It was like a funniest moment of 2011. Lillian Garcia falls over.
Yeah.
Cool.
I did not find it funny. Maybe other people did. I just think I'm a big fan of Lillian Garcia. She's got a great voice. She's a great singer. She's a good announcer. I mean, yeah, she's made a few mistakes every now and then. She has not made nearly as many mistakes as Tony Chimmel. So if you want to talk about announcers making mistakes, she ain't on the bottom of that list. In fact, she's nowhere near it. She's very good, and she. I know that Renee Young is going in. She's doing a lot of good stuff for women in commentary and stuff like that. So women like Renee Young and Lillian Garcia have got a lot of respect for. So yeah, Ryback is just getting that shovel and he's just burying himself. I mean, he's basically given Triple H the burying time off. He's basically going to do it himself to give. I mean, how nice of Ryback. He's going to bury himself so Triple H doesn't have to do it for him.
Triple H doesn't have to worry about burying him. Just he's doing it for me. I like this man.
He said a lot of other stuff on commentary, he stated that Big E Langston needed a bra, and he just said that along the lines of that. He was trying to be very funny, and some of his stuff, I have to admit, was a little bit comical. And it wasn't nearly as bad. It was at least interesting.
You got what you expected out of it. It's just Biggie Langston's one of the most powerful. It's he's nothing compared to the big guy. It's cool.
He was trying to blur the lines between wrestling and and shooting, and he didn't really do it that well, really, did he? He was trying. Oh, I'm only 21 months in. Ha ha ha! It's what? That has nothing to do with anything. So
you're only 21 months in, but you should have been so much in a much bigger position than you are now.
Yeah, exactly.
So ha 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 to you.
So yeah, in terms of his little laugh after everything that he said, I thought it was really funny. I just would have loved $1 Million Man just to laugh at him with his laugh, because that would have been fantastic. I would have
You
given
think
him
you
another
have-
$1 million and made
Yeah,
him the
you
$2
think
million
you would-
man.
Yeah, that's it. Do you know the one thing I don't quite understand? Why is there not a Ted DiBiase skit with the primetime players?
Oh, no, that's just a miss out there, isn't it? Really, you need to
It's
be
just
on creative, Matt. Come on,
That's
WWE,
it.
go on, start this guy up. Come on, he's got all the ideas, you know. I'm not being sarcastic. That's brilliant. I would have loved to have seen that.
It was just I don't understand it. It's just like the $1 Million Man and the guys that love millions of dollars.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe that was something that maybe they could have done, but they thought, oh, we'll just get him to laugh with the belt. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
His arm.
Oh well, but yeah, Ryback, basically with his actions and commentary, I don't think a lot of people were happy with what he said, and then with his actions against Ziggler, yeah, he's not doing very well for himself really, and for all the people chanting Goldberg at him, he's never going to reach the heights that Goldberg did now. That's for damn sure.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, next segment though was absolutely fantastic. We had the Piper's Pit segment. Every Piper's Pit segment is good. And this was no different. Every now and then, WWE likes to throw us a bone and give us pretty much exactly what we want. And the likes of having Ambrose and Piper go one-on-one on a microphone is one of those things. I mean, is that something that you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was
just like an Ambrose has a mic and Piper has a mic. It was just like even like right at the beginning in my notes. It's just like the moment they turned around and said, "Oh, we're gonna have a Piper's Pit and it's gonna be the Shield." It's like, just the excitement of it all. Just like, oh yeah.
And
happy.
Even though these two are obviously very good in the mic, there was room for failure here. They did not fail. This was brilliant. They delivered on their promo, and even Seth Rollins got on the act a little bit. He wasn't nearly as good as Ambrose.
The one thing, my favourite part of that entire thing was the fact that Seth Rollins he looked like he was awestruck, and he was just like, oh my god, it's Roddy Piper, and there's Piper just like, think I'm pretty? It's just like, oh.
Or the fact he asked him if he could call him Hot Rod. He was like, can I call you that, Hot Rod? It's like, this is the most like respectful we'll ever see the Shield member be. So.
Yeah, that's it.
But that, obviously the whole thing of having of the Shield being very sort of marking out for legends did not end at this particular segment. But yeah, this was brilliant. Obviously, Piper teased more.
Typical Piper.
Yeah, he teased more sort of break up in the Shield, and we know it's happening. They're just doing the slow burn on it, which is exactly what they should do in my opinion. And this is the sort of thing that I said earlier on when Ric Flair was going off on Orton didn't really have the ability to go backwards and forwards with him. Ambrose and Piper did, and you can see that, and they were going backwards and forwards, and eventually they spoke to Roman Reigns, who got up in Piper's face, and then we had the New Age Outlaws come out for the save.
Yeah, we did.
And this was one of the really great segments of the show, really well done. Everything worked as it should do, and like I said, sometimes WWE give us exactly what we want, and that's what we had on this. You never get sold short with a Piper's Pit segment, really. He's always good in the ring, they need someone of the ilk of Ric Flair or Piper in terms of skill on the mic.
I mean, the thing is, like, even like we've got all these things like, oh, welcome to Miz TV, and it's like, it's not Piper's Pit. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop trying to be Piper's Pit. I mean, I know Jericho had like the highlight reel, and that was good.
Edge had the cutting edge as well.
The cutting edge, that was good. But then she's talking about two guys who could cut promos, and it's just like, welcome to Miz TV. It's just like, you're just doing this because you were a reality star. Fuck off.
Yeah. All I can think of is the Michael Strahan stuff, and that just sends a shiver down my spine.
Yeah, so, that's it.
That's the way it goes, really. I mean, that's not even been probably the worst Miz TV segment. It's probably been worse out there. I don't want to say to our subscribers or our listeners that I'm going to go back and rank the worst Miz TV segments. I do not have the sanity to do that, so no, that's never going to be done.
Yeah.
Not on this show anyway. I'll let someone else blow their brains out with that anyway. But nah, like I said, this was brilliant. More segments like this. They need to start getting guys that can talk as well as Piper and Flair up on the main roster. It's not enough to have the likes of Cena or CM Punk as their main promo guys. They need to have better.
I'd say Ambrose is in amongst it.
Yeah, but he doesn't exactly get as much time as he needs to, I don't think, on the mic. He doesn't get nearly as much time as Punk or Cena does. So
yeah,
they need to play to their strengths, really.
Yeah. Like, do you remember a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, oh, they've got a Goldust T-shirt.
Yeah.
Now I've changed my mind. I don't want the gold. I do want the Goldust T-shirt.
Let me guess. You want the Shield hoodie
to go with my Nexus hoodie.
Yeah. I saw that baby and I was all over that. I was like, yep, I'm getting that now. I have to. That was brilliant. I love that. I hope that doesn't go too quickly out of stock, because obviously the Shield are going to break up soon. I hope that there's a few of them still running around by the time I actually get the free cash to purchase myself one of those. So
that's it. And if it's as comfy as my Nexus hoodie, I will be happy.
Yeah, you love your Nexus hoodie. I've seen you wear that now. Now anyway. So
that's it. I still wear it to this day.
Exactly. So we had Sin Cara and Del Rio 3, the final match. No, not really. I'm just trying to build out more than what it is. But yeah, Sin Cara and Del Rio, the third match in a little.
It wasn't really the third match, was it? Because Sin Cara's beaten Del Rio twice now.
Yeah. And they've had loads of matches against each other before as well.
It's like, well, let's find out.
I remember one of the matches that the old Sin Cara had against Del Rio, and when he busted his hand, Del Rio just didn't give a shit and just started attacking him. And the referee was freaking out. He was like, "He's injured," and Del Rio was like, "I don't care. I'm just going to injure him more." And that was that. So yeah, but in terms of the new Sin Cara Del Rio rivalry, this is the third match that they've had, and on Raw anyway. I don't know if they've had any matches on SmackDown. Del Rio got the victory, and it looks like they're trying to set up like a mini rivalry between himself and Batista.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed the match, actually.
Yeah, they've had decent matches since they've come back. Since they've started.
Since they've had like some decent, like there's been some good speed, and it's like we haven't seen sort of that sort of fast-paced wrestling where it's literally like, cover, kick out, move, reversal, pin, cover, kick out, and all that lot, and it's just like. And it's sort of something that I think that Sin Cara brings that's really good. I didn't like his pink. His pink get up, but then to be perfectly honest, once the light came on, it didn't really matter.
It's just everything turns blue again, and yeah,
I thought it was a real cop out finish. I didn't like the finish.
Yeah, well, they do this every now and then.
Oh, there he is, donk.
Yeah, they do this every now and then where they try and get like a quick, and that's why they love the roll up pin, don't they? They do that all the time because it's a quick and shocking finish when it isn't really. I mean, the roll up, as we know, is the most devastating move of all time. The Tombstone has nothing on the roll up pin, but when it comes to where they're building with this, with the Batista Del Rio rivalry, Batista made some pretty interesting comments on Twitter about this, and they were having a Twitter war.
Batista's deleted them as well.
Yeah.
Where some of his tweets have been deleted.
He's probably got the award for burying the locker room in the quickest time. He's not even back with the company, and he buried the entire locker room in one tweet. So kudos to him. And one of the things I actually want to talk about, he basically said that there is,
was C-list stars in a B-list era.
Yeah, like he was a B-list star fighting in a C-list era or something along those lines. And to be honest, at the end of the day, he's actually saying a lot of the stuff that CM Punk has said in previous promos. He's saying stuff that Stone Cold Steve Austin has said. You remember that particular promo that they had to plug WWE 13, where Stone Cold had that promo against CM Punk, the brilliant promo with JR.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, what Stone Cold essentially said was, "You're good, but no one else in the locker room is any good, so there's no point." And CM Punk was like, "Yes, okay, I agree."
It was another one of those best of a bad bunch sort of thing.
Yeah. So he's getting a little bit of heat. I dare them to try and go to Triple H and tell them that they've got a problem with Batista returning. We know that Batista and Triple H are very good buds, and they will not.
Yeah, it's literally just like, Batista's being mean. It's like, and.
Yeah. So yeah, might be heat on him, but at the end of the day, this is like
Triple H has done that before, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he
Triple H
said
to say like nobody in the locker room is worthy enough to wrestle him other than the Undertaker.
Yeah, that was a very famous. Well, I say famous. I mean, one of the more noteworthy things that he said. But at the end of the day, I can't really disagree with Batista. At the end of the day, he's exactly right. Del Rio, back in the days of when Batista was there, and or Stone Cold's era or anything like that, he would not have been world champion that many times or WWE champion that many times, or if at all. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. They had bigger stars. And the fact that JBL was around then, so they're not going to exactly run two of the same gimmicks. So that's the way that it runs. But
I think so. I saw quite a good picture actually. It was DiBiase, JBL, and Del Rio, and it's like the evolution of the gimmick.
yeah. Which is good. I like that because it's JBL always says that the gimmick was like a stolen one, and it's true. Everyone steals their gimmicks from something that's been done before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that rich guy heel gimmick that will work until the end of time. So yeah,
That's
I can
it.
agree with it. But
It's always sort of like it's almost like the whole sort of people hating their boss, or just like having a dislike to people who are more well off than they are.
yeah.
And it will always just like, oh, I'm richer than you, and I'm going to rub it in your face. And there'll always be room for that.
Yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, the mass majority of WWE fans aren't exactly going to be well off financially. They appeal to like, millions of people around the globe. There's not millions.
Yeah, I mean, it's partly why like the Austin McMahon story was so big, because it's literally like, have you ever thought of like giving your boss the finger and punching him in the face?
Yeah, that's exactly why it works so well. That whole program beat WCW, that entire rivalry, because it was in a way relatable. Everyone was living vicariously through Austin, and everyone's had that boss where you just think to yourself, I really want to punch you in the face. Austin actually did that in that story, and that's what made it so fun, and made him such a great face to cheer for, even though he was so almost delectably heel sort of thing. So yeah, that was great.
It.
But going away from topic here, when Batista comes back, if Del Rio thinks he's going to get any sort of push ahead of Batista, he's been smoking that special crack that McGill. Brodus Clay's been having.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So next we had the Daniel Bryan segment. We've already talked about that, and then we had the match between the Brotherhood and the All Americans.
Yeah, we did.
Or the Real Americans, sorry, the All American, Real Americans, because that's the way Jack Swagger likes to do things.
American.
They're all American. They're Americans. So the Brotherhood, as they like to call themselves now, the Rhodes Brothers, actually got a rare non-title victory on television. They kind of went along the lines of the IC champion sort of thing before Biggie Langston won it, where you're the champion, but you're only going to win when you're defending the title. Every other match you're going to lose. So
that's it. It's just a sort of, you're going to lose this match because it's going to make it look like that person could beat you. No, they can't beat you.
This was complete.
Onto that next guy,
isn't it? Yeah. Onto the next program that they'll run, where they'll beat them on TV, and then they won't beat them at the pay-per-view, and the cycle continues. But Zeb Colt, did you catch Zeb Coulter's sign during this match?
Best defense is offense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
this guy's gold. I love
even if you're not willing to give him a mic, you'll still get gold.
Exactly. He's just. I mean, Zeb Colt has been obviously in the wrestling. I mean, you obviously know him as Dutch Mantel. Anyone that knows what he's done before, the Zeb Coulter character, he's been in wrestling for a very long time. So,
and he's been managers to some greats.
Exactly. So yeah, he's good. Very, very good. The only thing I'd worry about though is with that beard, he may be the next, Wyatt family member. That would be great. That would be gold when it's Zeb Coulter as a Wyatt family member. Scary. Also, in news of that as well, I mean, I know that you've heard before that I've been growing quite a large beard. I do have quite a large beard now, and I was scared about getting done with the Wyatts. I'm getting both my hair and my beard completely removed in a couple of days, in fear of being recruited by the Wyatts. So, yeah.
I shall have to pick up the slack. Like, we can't have one person. We have to have someone who's bearded and long-haired.
Exactly, yeah. I can't imagine you with the long hair, but we won't go into that. So it doesn't really matter for anyone that's listening to us because they don't know what we look like. So troll face. Anyway, DDP and Booker did some yoga backstage.
That was.
This is the whole thing. This particular segment was awful. It was awful. It was really awkward. But any segment that's really bad and then that has Ron Simmons.
That's it. Like, that's the sole reason why you put an awkward sort of video promo in. Like, this is weird. Oh, I know what's happening next.
Now, for anyone that knows, me and Matt are massive Ron Simmons fans, and it is just for the one word that he says. We're big fans of his wrestling time as well, obviously. But yeah, Ron Simmons has the ultimate punchline to any segment. He can instantly save the worst segments of all time into the best ones.
Like, this is shit. And then suddenly the camera pans a little bit, and there's just Ron stood there glaring, and I was like, and it's just literally just like, "Ooh, do it. Damn!
I was marking out pretty
Get
bad.
really nostalgic over old school Raw, don't we?
Yeah. That's it. Couldn't be old school Raw that Ron Simmons damn now, could it really? I need to get that as my ringtone, really. Just him going down.
Oh, that's it.
Anyone that's obviously been listening to it, we've got a bit of Ron Simmons on the intro to the show. When I was going through stuff that I could put in on that, Ron Simmons damn had to be in there, so that's the reason why it's in there for anyone that noticed that on the intro to the show. So yeah, Ron Simmons, brilliant. He can say anything. He has the ultimate punchline, and no one will be able to take that away from him. So, that awkward segment was saved, and we had Great Khali against Damien Sandow. Go on.
It was good to see DDP.
Yeah, I thought that if you're going to do something with him, it may have been something a little bit different, but I don't have too much of a problem with that. As we would learn, this wasn't meant to be DDP's moment, but that's later on anyway that we go through that.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
But yeah, Great Khali and Sandow had their rematch after the huge controversy that shook wrestling.
Is it really? I know it's meant to be old school Raw, but Ranjit Singh isn't that old school.
I don't even think he was that relevant anyway, was he?
He was never relevant when he was around.
He was just a guy that danced with Great Khali until he didn't even do any storylines of him disappearing or reappearing. He just did for a little while, and then he would disappear for no reason.
Oh, old school Raw. It's like, why? Why are you here?
But
go away, Ranjit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any hate for the guy. I mean, it's just there's nothing to him.
He's
not exactly a manager.
Hate for it. I mean, just there's no purpose for it.
There is none. Is there? It's just kind of aimless. Khali got the win. As if anyone really cares. And Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, one of the good things about this whole match, the match itself was pretty shocking, as any match with Great Khali is really. Yeah. I actually saw a dog today that was probably the Great Khali of dogs. He was absolutely massive. He moved with more grace and style than the actual Great Khali does. So. I don't know why I just compared him to a dog, but let's go past that anyway. Sergeant Slaughter put on the clutch, the Cobra clutch, just for some serious nostalgia and for some sort of positive in this. I know you have a soft spot for that move, Matt, because that was yours.
I did, yeah. I was just like, oh, gotta see the master do it. Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone knows, I mean, if anyone that's kind of catching in, me and Matt did wrestling for a little while. That was Matt's submission hold. Mine was the triangle hold, which is what Undertaker did for a while.
Yeah. My only problem with it is, like, I kind of like the fact that it meant that Sandow had to argue the case, and it's like, oh, cool. So now we get to see him in the Cobra Clutch, but this also means one problem: we've got to watch that match again.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Because now it's one each on false finishes, and it's just like,
yeah, exactly. This rivalry will rage on, and we will not care. It's almost like the Kofi Kingston Miz program, where it's just a whole lot of pile of nothing. We don't really care. And you think that by now they would have something better for Sandow. Sandow is much better than what the stuff they've been given
virus database updated.
I apologise for anyone that's heard that my virus software is just upgraded. Because that just happened through. Anyway, professional we are in the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I can't really help that. So yeah, they go through this sometimes, and this is one of the subjects that we're going to talk about either later on or next week, about the roster itself being too bloated, and the fact that they haven't got enough plans for the amount of people that they've got. I think Sandow was one of the victims of said problem. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, like I said, Sandow's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. There's stuff you can do.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you've got people of genuine talent who just get like, we don't have time for you. Like, you're going to have to either do filler or fade out, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it. So
to put it into context, his name's now just completely escaped me.
Who are you talking about?
Woo.
Zack Ryder.
Him.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder. He's still on the books.
Yeah. JTG is still on the books.
That's it. And it's just like, That's a prime example, because now it's just like, he's still on the roster. He's never seen on Raw. And as a result, people forget about him.
Yeah.
Now, I quite liked the Zack Ryder, his YouTube show. And that got him the push to sort of the US title run. But now it's just like, and he's gone, I've forgotten about him, I don't care.
To his point, I mean, yeah, while I can understand why they wouldn't push him anymore, but the fact is that he got himself over a little bit with his YouTube show, but then they forced him to move his YouTube show to the WWE channel, and that eventually killed it.
Yeah.
And then obviously he wasn't seen or heard from again. So I mean, it's kind of like a mid move that they did with Zack Ryder anyway. But we're getting into this topic, Matt, and we don't even know we have enough time for it. We still got Raw.
We still got Lesnar to talk about.
Exactly. There's a lot of talk about Lesnar. Let's hop onto Lesnar right now. Because he's a very large man, I'm sure that he'd have space for us to hop onto his back. So yeah, Lesnar made an appearance.
He could carry it.
Yeah, he could carry
it.
And he could scream and sound like some dying goat, I imagine. So he made an appearance of Paul Heyman. There was no reason for him to make an appearance apart from the fact that Paul Heyman just wanted to outline everything that he had said the week before.
Oh yeah, but that's Paul Heyman.
Yeah, but he still made it interesting. That's one of the gifts that Paul Heyman gives you. He could say exactly what he said over and over and over and over and over and over again, and he can say it in a different way that's still entertaining to listen to. So
it's like Heyman can sell water to fish. Like, he's just brilliant.
Yeah, he's very, like, when we did an episode back on our old YouTube channel where we used to do this before the relaunch of Let's Talk Wrestling, we actually talked about the influence of managers. Paul Heyman, I think, made our top 3. I think he was number 2, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was Heyman. I think our top one was Bobby the Brain.
Yeah, Bobby Brain all day. I mean, Paul Heyman is great, and I'll give him his due. But you look at I mean, Paul Heyman's good for managing CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, and he's done others along the lines. But Bobby Heenan, when you look at his resume for the people that he's managed, that is just so impressive. The guys that he's been in the corner of, and he's done something for every single person that he's managed as well. So that's the only reason why. But still, talk about being in the same company as greats. When you talk about Paul Heyman and Bobby the Brain in the same sort of breath, that's nothing bad to Paul Heyman. That's
nothing at all.
So anyway, Mark Henry came down and made another attack. He got his arm broken, kayfabe, of course. And Lesnar's expression while he was doing this, either he was being possessed or he was taking the most devastating acidy shit of his life.
Oh yeah, that genuinely looked like a burn.
The look on his face, I do not know. I mean, he must know that he's getting himself wide open to get memed to shit. And
welcome to the internet and your shitting face.
That was scary, and I knew as soon as he was doing that, and I was like, whoa, look at those eyes. I knew there was going to be a meme made, just with the words of Brock Lesnar was watching you masturbate, that sort of thing. That would be scary.
And then you finish watching Raw, check Facebook, and lo and behold.
And it's right there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously they're going.
Big Show make the saves.
Yeah, Big Show came out, made the save, and they're setting up a match for the Royal Rumble. One of the things that I would like to ask you, Matt, I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I wouldn't want one of Brock Lesnar's matches. He doesn't have a lot of them, right? I wouldn't want one of Brock Lesnar's matches, of which are always interesting, always something anticipated, to be wasted on the Big Show. Are you on the same thought, or do you think that maybe...
I kind of am, yeah.
Yeah?
I think they sort of... I could agree with you. I mean, they sort of made it out like, oh, Big Show, he threw Lesnar across the ring. It's like, yeah, but everybody knows that when sort of Lesnar switches into the right gears, Show's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't think Show can give the same sort of fight that Lesnar's had from both Triple H and Punk.
Yeah.
Well, you look at that SummerSlam match with Punk.
Oh, what a match that was.
And it was such a great match. I don't think you can get that sort of level out of Big Show.
No, I mean, remember, this is really weird with Big Show, right? Is that he was involved in the Survivor Series main event, an event, by the way, which plummeted in the pay-per-view buy rate. It was very poor, and so to be expected when your main event is Randy Orton against Big Show for the title.
Yeah.
So why? I mean, Big Show. I'm a fan. I like Big Show, right? He's got such longevity on the guy, and he's not a bad wrestler. He's had some really good matches. His best match he's had the last couple of years has been against Sheamus for the title, where he won that World Heavyweight belt.
Yep.
But he hasn't had a good match for a very long time now, and I don't see Lesnar being one of those guys that could give him a good match.
To draw the good match out of him.
Yeah. And it's not really that interesting. I mean, I know they've got past. Remember that Lesnar essentially went face when Paul Heyman teamed with Big Show to screw Brock Lesnar. That was actually a storyline that they did. But I don't think you see them going back to that. I think they're just going to have this as a throwaway match to have Lesnar on Royal Rumble. And you know what? It's going to be good to see Lesnar on a match at the Royal Rumble. I much would have rather have seen Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Pack that Royal Rumble through as big as stars as you can, because that's going to make it much bigger than just having him on the throwaway match with a Big Show, of which anyone with half a brain cell knows they are not going to let Big Show go over on Lesnar in any sense of the word. He's going to get demolished, and he might get offense against Lesnar because they wanted to seem competitive. He's not going to beat Brock Lesnar. There's no.
Oh no! But the one thing I quite liked about that promo is like the fact that it almost looked like Lesnar's scared of Big Show, and I don't like that. It's just like, really.
They do this every now and then, don't they? Where they try and make it so that Lesnar... They build up Lesnar as this beast incarnate, and they do that really well. I mean, Paul Heyman does that, basically. But I don't know why you'd build here... But, I mean, Brock Lesnar's beaten Big Show before. He has, many times. So I don't see why you'd be afraid.
He's hit Big Show with the F5. Yeah, so as a real testament to it.
And I think Mark Henry's heavier than Big Show, so there you go. I mean, what's the point really in being scared in one end? But yeah, so we got to see one other of Brock Lesnar's weird faces and a program that I'm not exactly excited for with Lesnar and Big Show. But I don't know how many more.
I'll reserve judgment.
You'll reserve a bit more judgment. You do tend to give them a bit more of a chance, Matt. So. Good for you. I'm just.
But you can only go by what the final product is.
Okay.
It's in the pudding.
Yeah. In case it's Ryback, in which case, fuck Ryback.
Fuck Ryback. Yeah. It seems like It seems really bad that only a year and a half ago we were just like, Ryback, he's going to be the next greatest thing. Like, we don't have Batista, so we need someone like Ryback, and Ryback don't fail us. So we fucked it.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter, even if he was the biggest thing and he'd done everything right. If you make any sort of snide remarks towards Lillian Garcia, naughty, don't like that. So yeah, that's just my rule. Yeah, but we went into that anyway. So we had a Divas tag team match. It was a 2-on-2 though, so
it wasn't a full six sort of 12 diva clusterfuck match.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. We had Bellas against Alicia Fox and Xana, and Xana got the win, for anyone that cares. And I'm scared that they're going to push her.
I know.
I'm very scared.
But the thing is, there was limb targeting and moves, and it was scary. but it was still pathetic.
It was still bad,
and Brie sounds pathetic. I never actually noticed that, how bad Brie Bella sounds when she's wrestling. It's just like, It's even if I don't know if she's trying to rally the crowd or she's just scared of just the scenario. But it's like, and it's just like, Brie, shut up.
Yeah.
Just go away.
That was like Melina screeching and shit. I never liked that, I mean, fair enough. You can make whatever tennis noises you want in the ring and make it sound as if you're actually in pain when you get in hurt or selling stuff, and that's fair enough. But yeah, sometimes it gets a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just makes it seem that the fact we're trying to find something good in the matches that have the divas in nowadays. There was limb targeting.
There was. But that's that's basic wrestling. It's known that Nikki Bella's got a bad leg, so you know what they're going to do? They're going to target the leg. That's intelligent. Good for you, bimbos.
Good for you. Matt gives you a thumbs up this week. Only a little bit though.
Like a half thumbs up. If you have it level on horizontal, it's tweaked a little bit. But then the finish
1 centimetre up, sort of.
But then the finish was a missed drop kick. And
Oh dear. Botch Cara would be proud. Anyway, going towards something that would
it's
be
drop kick. That's not even like, oh, everyone knows that Oksana's got that really weird like elbow in the back of the head drop finisher. This was like Brie fucked up a drop kick.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Apparently the force of her messing up her own move. Maybe it was just a humiliation, Matt, that kept her down for the 3 count.
Yeah.
So, So anyway, carrying on, because I mean we've talked way too much about divas on this show. When they release a great match, I'm sure we'll be more than happy to talk about that. But we review every segment of Raw, as we said, as much as we can. That's what we do on the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. And unfortunately, they do throw in these diva segments that make us want to not watch the product anymore. Anyway, we were rewarded for our, for going through this match, Matt, because our next match was 3MB against the return of Too Cool.
And yeah, that was good.
It was.
Scotty's in awesome shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I noticed. The guy looks in better shape than he ever did when he was in the WWE.
That's it. I mean, even Cole mentioned it, like saying like, "Oh, he looks better than ever." It's like he fucking does. I mean, Grandmaster Sexy still looks like a little bit of like a almost like a sort of beefed up podge monster, but.
He had a bit of weight behind him, didn't he? But
yeah, I will admit though, I've never actually taken the time just to sort of properly look at Rikishi and go, like, you can look at the Usos and go, you are Rikishi's, Rikishi's kids, but it's just like you then look at Rikishi and go, they really are your kids.
Yeah, there is a lot of strong resemblance there, isn't there? Really?
Yeah, it's like they got nothing from their mum.
except the lack of Rikishi's figure, maybe they got.
Yeah, except for the small. Yeah, all they got was the smaller ass.
The lack of girth, shall we say? This was awesome to see Too Cool come back. The crowd was so poor though during this entire segment. They just did not give these guys anything.
They gave the worm a pop, but I guess you kind of have to.
Yeah, you do, because otherwise I don't know. I just think that they deserved a little bit better, and they put on a decent enough match. And like you said, Scotty Too Hot, he looks in amazing shape. He's now a firefighter, so obviously he has to be in great shape to be able to do that, and you can tell. It was just an awesome. I mean, we don't see Too Cool come back every now and then. They're not like I said, the $1 Million Man or
the New Age Outlaws.
The New Age Outlaws that come back almost every sort of time that they're expected to. So this was a good surprise, but the crowd really did not give them as much as I think they deserved, especially when they put on a good match. They did all the stuff they were expected to. They did the dance at the end, which is just classic nostalgia. And
I'd much rather watch them dance than the Funkadactyls.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? They don't dance any worse than maybe, let's say, that Brodus Clay or anything than that does. But I think it's just the way they go about it. I don't know why it just makes it seem. Maybe we're just looking at this from
like this is a proper rose-tinted glasses, sort of, yeah. Sort of more favour of.
I'd like to hear any of your guys' thoughts. Do you think that maybe it's just the way that they go around doing it, or do you think that maybe it's just different times and the fact that you can't get away with doing that same sort of gimmick nowadays? That may be the case, but I thought they deserved better anyway. The whole group, and but it was still good. I still enjoyed it at home, but I just thought that they deserved a better pop. But they did come out again afterwards.
I will say one thing. No.
Go on.
How can we have we had Scotty Too Hotty, so he definitely has to do the worm.
Yeah.
We had Rikishi.
Yeah.
Where was the stink face?
I don't know. Maybe that's not PG enough.
I don't give a shit.
Even though they let the divas do that, but
Yeah.
That's just.
I want stink face.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure I'll get Rikishi on the phone. I'll tell him that you want it, Matt.
I would take a stink face off. No. I would gladly take one.
Take one for the team. Take one for the podcast, Matt.
That's
one for
it.
the podcast. Now I'm going to make sure that when we go over, sometimes to go see WrestleMania, if there's like a show that he's in or something, I'm going to fly you over there and I'm going to get in contact with Rikishi and I get him to stink face you.
Fair.
For the sake of the podcast, Matt.
Done.
For the sake of the podcast.
Done. Call this virtual handshake. Done.
Virtual handshake. If any of our subscribers can help us get this done, then awesome, fantastic. Let's do this. Okay. All I can think now is that if anyone makes a soundboard of this show, I'm just going to get. I
want stink face.
Yeah, that's going to be it.
But But another note, why do we have to have Heath Slater get his ass kicked by legends again?
Because that's his job.
Yeah, but didn't that happen on last old school Raw?
Yeah, but nothing's really
He lost to
changed.
Lita, which was awesome.
Which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's just. I mean, let's face it. 3MB are jobbers. That's their job, which is a shame considering they've got Drew McIntyre in their ranks too. But I mean, they do need jobbers. That someone needs to fill that role. And while I might not agree with the people they've got in there, that's essentially their role. Anyone who thinks otherwise is completely wrong. They haven't won a match in God knows how long, and that's what they're there for. They're there to make other people have their pop and have their moment, and that's not typically. It's not bad. Someone has to do that role, and at least 3MB do it entertaining enough that they're goofy enough that they can do that. So
No, that's it. And you like to watch them get hurt.
yeah, exactly, which is always a plus. So we had the sort of complimentary roll call, as it were. I know you weren't too happy with the fact that they kind of trotted out the legends just to get another sort of WrestleMania Hall of Fame style.
There wasn't even that. It was just like, I know who they are. Everyone should know who they are. It's literally just like, for all of you under the age of 12, like, look at the old people. Ah! But Godfather had no bitches, so that was a problem.
There was a distinct lack of hose. I don't even like the fact they don't. I mean, obviously I know why, because obviously they want to keep it.
He could have at least had divas.
Yeah, come on. Maybe giving him the Bellas or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that wouldn't have gone down well with John Cena or something, I don't know. But, man, I don't know. But this, I mean, obviously the crowd are pretty dead, and this is one of the moments that they were as well, so it just made it seem even poorer, the fact they were running off these names, and no one really cared in the crowd, which is a crime.
That was it.
Really.
I was just like, that's just sad. Like, it's the lack of respect, if anything, because it's like, these are the greats.
They are.
Every person that and you have a variety of eras from Vladimir and like Backlund, and then even to sort of go into the Attitude, like you had the New Age. I mean, the New Age Outlaws weren't out on the roll call, but they were there and Too Cool and things like that.
Yeah, you had a different range of different eras that were involved in there, and guys that had a good part of doing some of they had a good part of what was going on in their particular eras, and they were decent enough wrestlers. The fact is that they deserved something. They were there, and they deserved a little bit of a pop at least. But there was just nothing to be had. This crowd were horrendous. We said this at the start of the show, and I stand by it now. So
that's it. Baltimore. For shame.
For shame. Hang your head,
Baltimore.
And even worse for the end of it, I'm going to go even more on this, because there's a guy who returned at the end of this show who deserved a monster pop and didn't get anything.
Yes.
So, but anyway, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We had basically this was Barrett's. So Matt, you thought that Barrett's promos were going to get better. I thought maybe they're going to get better. Well, unfortunately, Matt, I've got some bad news for you.
I want Barrett to shut the fuck up and get back in the ring.
Yeah. This is another sort of thing that you said about Kane, that the longer he spends outside the ring, the more detriment to his character it's going to be.
Yep. I stand by that.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
I stand by Edward Barrett now, and I want him to be quiet. I want the bad news to be. I want the BN in bad news to stand for Broken Nose Barrett. I never thought I'd get to a point. I don't like Barrett.
Yeah, I think either they need to tweak this and make it the bad news that we said it was going to be before. Like, where when the Authority's got some bad news, you send Barrett to deliver it, and he takes great joy in doing that, and that's his character. Or you go the other way, you repackage this guy. Why don't you give him the mercenary gimmick, where you almost like the evil side of the APA, where you need to get someone out, you need someone to be on your side, and you hire Barrett to go do it for you, and then he becomes like
there's so much the need for it anymore, though.
I don't know. There's got to be something for this guy. He's a good wrestler. He's a lot better than what he's got, and you can tell he's trying to do something with this. He is. You can tell he's given it everything he's got, but with the stuff that he's been given, it's just not coming out very well. And the problem is, like we said last week, that it seems like WWE are actually very happy with the way this is going, and they want to keep it going. I don't know why. Maybe it's getting some sort of response from the general wrestling fans, but not to the hardcore ones. It's just not coming off very well.
No, not at all.
So, yeah, and this was the same that I don't know. They just need to make tweaks for this if they're going to make it work. But there we go. So we come to the final segment of the show, which basically set up the main event, of which they've been building towards quite healthily towards the show. And
Reigns.
Yeah, Mean Gene Okerlund came out. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Love
Mean Gene did.
Always had
it was the thing I loved was just like, I could tell you some stories of Baltimore, none of them I could tell you here.
Yeah.
And it's just like, can't do it for PG.
Yeah. But Mean Gene was great, and obviously New Age Outlaws came back and had a great little one, back and forth with him. And they actually did the impossible. The New Age Outlaws, they actually got Baltimore to make some noise, which was good. They actually wizards.
I'm sorry.
They accumulated
The thing I find really bizarre, they weren't allowed to do it at the Slammies.
Yeah,
but they could do it here on Raw.
I don't know. Maybe it's more old school Raw.
But I don't know if it was the same with you. But were you also just going along, just doing the whole part with them?
Yeah, of course, because
I was just sort of just watching it, and I'm literally just tag team champions of the world, and I'm sat on my sofa watching it on TV, and I'm just like, the Road Dogg, Jesse James. I just got laugh. I love it.
That's great. I know that they call him the badass Billy Gunn, but I just keep thinking to myself that he that's Mr. Ass. Come on, just call him Mr. Ass, please. Come on, it's old school.
Beep, beep.
But oh well.
Ass man.
They were great on this, and they are. I like seeing them back. They're coming back a lot more often. New Age Outlaws, and they actually had a match on SmackDown, which I haven't caught.
I think I'm gonna have to catch it.
Yeah, just for that, because they still got it. Those guys, they can go.
Okay, well, they did last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They had a few matches when they came back the last time. So fair play to them. They're fantastic. They're really, really good. But they introduced CM Punk in a fantastic way. They got the guys to really come out for him, and then obviously the Shield came out with Reigns, and this was a decent enough match. This wasn't to the best of either what I think these guys can do.
I don't think it justified the "This is awesome" chant.
No, it didn't at the time. And when they were chanting that, it wasn't a great wrestling match. It served its purpose, and I think that when
it was a good match, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't go as far to say, an awesome match. I wasn't like edge of my seat, just going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." This was a good match.
It wasn't like a match of the year contender. It was a decent enough main event that was fair enough, and it was interesting to watch with the characters that are around it. But the real story here is obviously Reigns got the victory in this match. He won, which I expected anyway, because obviously this is the way to tease that the Reigns.
Exactly. To be perfectly honest, you can't have Piper going, "If you could beat Punk, does that make you the strongest?" Huh? Does it? Does it? Does it? Does it? And then Reigns just loses. I was like, oh well.
Yeah, that's got no meaning. So, and they want to push Roman Reigns, and in which case you've got to give him good victories against big stars like CM Punk, and that way, that Roman Reigns now is going to be the next big thing, and he's carrying himself very, very well. He's doing all the right things at the moment, Roman Reigns. So you can't say anything about that. He's doing very, very good. But the real story about this match is after the chaos ensued and the Shield looked like they were going to take a beating to CM Punk. We finally had the return of Jake the Snake Roberts, who came out. It was fantastic. I was happy. With Damien. You were happy. My wife was happy. My children were happy because I was happy. I tell you who weren't happy though. Baltimore wasn't happy. Jesus, guys, what else do you want to be able to cheer for these guys? I mean, Jake the Snake's been out of wrestling for a very long time. He's had his demons. To a whole extent, he's conquered the majority of them.
It's public that he's had issues as well. It's not even just like, he just disappeared. It's like everybody knows. Like, if you check on the dirt sheet, even if you've just watched, was it Beyond the Mat? Like, if you've done anything and just a little bit of digging into what is behind the scenes at WWE, you will know that Jake the Snake's had issues.
Yeah, exactly. And it's common knowledge now, and everyone that wants to see Jake Snake come back knows the story and knows how far he has come.
Do you think I thought the fact that Jake Snake didn't get much of a cheer, but I kind of like the DDP chant.
Yeah, why not?
So obviously DDP is pretty almost, I wouldn't say the sole reason Jake's back, but he sort of DDP was the one person who turned around and said, "I will help you."
He gave him the chance, didn't he? Really,
Yeah.
And he gave him more time and effort than anyone else that has been involved in his recuperation has. So yeah, fair play. He deserves a lot of credit, DDP, for giving these guys a chance
But
to turn.
DDP wasn't even there. He wasn't out in the public view. Was getting more of a chance than Jake the Snake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the good. I mean, like I said, DDP. He was on this show, but you could tell that from the way that the show ended, you could tell that DDP. This was Jake's night. He wanted it to be that way, because he want. Now, obviously, I very much doubt now he's going to be return. He's going to have his showdown at the Rumble, which he wanted, which is okay. He's had his comeback. He doesn't have to get in the ring and worry any of his health issues, because I know, he doesn't have a lot of money to his name. So if he does get injured, he may have to go and do another Indiegogo thing, which I don't think that any wrestler really wants to do. So okay, if he comes back and does it in this capacity, that's fine. He came out anyway, and basically he got Damien out, and a little bit of chaos ensued because he pretended that it was his penis.
I didn't think that it was that bad.
It didn't come off that way.
Did you hear the producer just like, "This is PG, this is PG"?
That wasn't the producer. That was CM Punk.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh.
He was shouting it was PG. But yeah, it didn't come out that badly to me anyway.
I was just like, really?
Yeah.
No.
It didn't come out. I mean, he was just standing
Ambrose
over him.
was like an idiot, though.
Yeah, he was. You never see another person happier to take a
It's
snake
like
on the
I
face
met
than
Piper, and Jake is putting a snake in my face, and I can die happy.
Exactly. He was trying his best not to. Maybe he was like trying to just brace himself for the snake.
I don't know whether it was a smile out of joy or the fact that he has a genuine fear of snakes.
The only thing you can do out of fear is smile.
That was it. It was like either a happy smile or is that awkward? There's a snake on me.
What do I do? Yeah. But this was great and awesome. The fact that they had the new and approved Damien that they said, and but yeah, the crowd were dead. They did not give Jake his big moment, and I blame them for that. Personally, I think that they gave them a really unique moment, and the crowd they just did not give anything to the guy, and I think that's a real shame. Considering that the whole bit was done really, really well. It wasn't as shocking. It wasn't as if like the whole return was banjaxed and they messed it up, and that's why the crowd didn't respond. There was no good crowd response to this, and I think that's to Baltimore's downfall. Really, they could have made something really special.
Again,
yeah,
shame on you.
Shame on you. And I will be watching you next time. If you get another good show and you mess it up, I will not be happy, and I will bury you like I buried Ryback for burying Lillian Garcia.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever said the word bury more times than I. What's weird about that is that there's a football team in England called Bury, so.
We're not hyping you guys.
No, we're not hyping you guys, unfortunately. I hope you guys do well, though. So, any Bury fans out there, I hope you have a good season. So, yeah, that was the whole of Raw. I really don't think we have enough time, Matt, for the topic this week. We've had loads to get through. So, I tell you what, we're going to put a pin in it, but we'll do a promo for it for next week. So, next week we're going to talk about the bloated roster in WWE. Is there too many guys for what they have going on? Have they got too many guys that they've got plans for? And do WWE need to trim their entire roster to accommodate their size? Next week, me and Matt looking deep into the issue, and we sort it out once and for all. Tune in next week. Was that good enough? Was that good enough, baby?
I think we'll go with that.
Yeah, okay. That was just on the fly. That wasn't even. There was no script there for me. So
always the promo, man.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's Raw this week. Do you have anything else to add on that anyway, or?
No, I have nothing really to add.
It's
so shocking you, Baltimore. But I will always be a fan of old school Raw.
Yeah, exactly. This show was awesome for so many different reasons, and it would have been better if they had a crowd that
wasn't awesome for the wrestling. No, the wrestling was all sort of average. It was just the fact that it's old school Raw.
Yeah, there wasn't great, but you don't go to old school Raw expecting that sort of thing. You're going to see legends come back. You're going to see almost cheap pops. But for any fan of wrestling, that you only get this once a year, the old school Raw. So just go all out on it, and that's what it was. It was good, and I enjoyed it, and I think next week's Raw is going to have a really hard time sort of keeping up with the factor of of how interesting.
I'm interested to see where the where the Shield's going to go. I could see next week's Raw being the main issue.
Yeah, definitely.
And also Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. Because obviously they're going to be teaming up to go against the Usos, which is going to be interesting. And as you said, they've sort of finished this run of matches that CM Punk has been having against singles matches against the Shield. So where they go from here is going to be quite interesting. I can see them sticking together towards the Rumble. Then maybe having a real big moment between them there, where Reigns eliminates one of them or both of them, to get a chance to win.
Or Ambrose eliminates Reigns.
Yeah, something along those lines where they're talking big, or maybe Reigns is thinking of going solo, but he holds back because Ambrose, says to him, "No, we need to stick together." Then, as you said, Ambrose screws him out, and
because Ambrose, everyone knows that Ambrose sees himself as the face of the group, so
exactly.
that could,
And if you're going to do a segment of even if you're going to keep... Apparently, the thought is, I've heard on another podcast, the thought is apparently they're going to bring Mason Ryan and make him fill the slot in the Shield, which I don't like, really.
Mason Ryan wasn't able to be the muscle in the new Nexus.
Yeah, I don't see any different in this, really.
I think part of the problem was also his accent.
Yeah, and you can't have two Batistas on the same show, it just doesn't work, so...
Yeah.
He does look a lot like Batista, doesn't he, really?
That's very true.
But
that is from Wales, so he's kind of difficult to understand. It would just get weird.
Yeah, it would. But, who knows? We'll see where it goes from there. But let's say that Reigns is split up from them and Rollins and Ambrose stay together. If they've got to have a match between one of them and not be a handicap match, Ambrose is the guy I want him to run a program with. So, and that's unfortunately leaves Seth Rollins in limbo, which is something that we talked about on another episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. That while we can see Ambrose and Reigns really doing well, while we can definitely see all the good stuff about Rollins, he's more at risk for kind of falling into obscurity than the rest of them, in my opinion.
I'd hate to say he has no character, but he's running the risk of falling into the mid card.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I
think Dean Ambrose will eventually end up there as well. He's currently got the character.
Yeah.
That's keeping him up.
I mean, WWE, we've said this before, WWE have got a shortage of really good heels on the mic. Ambrose can fill that role, and he can do it very, very well. There's a future for him.
Punk heel anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think he's sort of reached that thing now that he's going to be face for a while. I think if he goes heel again, he's going to have to take a break before he does that. So that's just my opinion anyway when it comes to CM Punk. But that's a whole different theory. I think we've gone way over our time this week. I don't even want to know how long we've been on this particular episode, so I apologise if this podcast is a long one there for you.
Longest one yet.
Yeah. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave it a like on our YouTube. Subscribe as well if you want to catch any more of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast in the future. We are noticing the response to the video, so thanks a lot for that. Send us any questions that you may like to ask us, and we'll save them. If it doesn't get answered on the next episode, we're going to save them up and do a big batch of them when we've got enough of them, wherever that may have been. I mean, when I mean a big batch of them, I'm talking about maybe 20 or even 30 to make an entire episode about this. So if you don't get it answered soon, keep with us. You will eventually get it answered. I guarantee you that. Don't worry about that. So apart from that, me and Matt are very happy to see you guys next week, and we hope that you have a good week.
That's it.
Alright then, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
So long.